The crystal chandelier above the dining table cast perfect light on my mother's best china. 23 family members filled my parents' house for Thanksgiving. I was late because of a board meeting, but I'd made it. "Emily's here," Aunt Linda announced as I walked in. "Finally decided to join the successful people?" Laughter rippled around the table. I slid into the only empty chair between Dad and my younger brother, Marcus. Before we go any further, if you love stories about underdogs and quiet success, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss what happens next. "We were just discussing Marcus's promotion," Mom said, beaming. "Regional vice president at 32. Can you imagine?" "Congratulations," I said genuinely. Marcus smirked. "Thanks. Someone in this family had to figure out how real careers work." More laughter. I focused on my plate. Dad cleared his throat, and the table went silent. He had that look. The one that meant he was about to make a point. "Emily," he began. "We need to talk about this little entrepreneur phase you're going through." My fork paused halfway to my mouth. "It's been what? 7 years now," Dad continued. "You're 35. You live in that tiny apartment. You drive a 10-year-old Honda. And you keep insisting you're running a business." "I am running a business," I said quietly. "A real business has an office," my sister Victoria chimed in. She was a corporate lawyer and never let anyone forget it. "What do you even do?" "Cybersecurity software," I corrected. Dad waved his hand dismissively. "Whatever it is, it's time to stop playing pretend. Marcus, tell your sister about the opening in your IT department." "Entry level," Marcus said, not even looking at me. 45,000 to start. At least it's legitimate." I set down my fork. "I'm not interested." "Not interested?" Dad's voice rose. "You're embarrassing this family. Your cousins ask about you. Our neighbors ask about you. What am I supposed to say? That my daughter plays on computers in her apartment and calls it entrepreneurship." The table went completely silent. "Stop playing entrepreneur," Dad said, each word deliberate. "Grow up. Get a real job. Join the actual workforce like everyone else at this table." Uncle Robert nodded. "He's right, Emily. This tech thing is a hobby at best." Aunt Linda leaned forward. "Sweetheart, we're saying this because we love you. You need benefits. You need a 401k. You need legitimacy." The table murmured in agreement. Every single person. I looked around at their expensive watches and designer clothes, at their judgment and certainty. They had no idea. "I appreciate your concern," I said quietly. "But I think I should go." "Running away?" Victoria said. "As usual." I grabbed my coat and kissed my mom's cheek. "Happy Thanksgiving." That night, I sat in my home office and looked at the 19 monitors displaying real-time data from Secure Core Technologies, my company. The one I'd built from scratch 7 years ago with 2 maxed-out credit cards and an idea everyone said wouldn't work. Current valuation, $127 million. Employees, 340 spread across Austin, Seattle, and London. Clients, 47 Fortune 500 companies and 12 government agencies. Annual revenue, $89 million and climbing. But sure, I was playing pretend. I'd kept my old apartment and my old car on purpose. Because the moment my family knew I had money, everything would change. They'd want loans for Marcus's great ideas. They'd treat me differently, not with respect, but with access in mind. So I stayed quiet. I built my empire in the shadows while they thought I was failing in the light. What my family didn't know was that Fortune magazine had been researching a feature on hidden tech titans. In September, 3 months before Thanksgiving, they'd reached out. "We'd like to feature you in our CEO of the Year issue," the editor said. "You've built something remarkable while staying completely off the radar." I'd hesitated. Going public meant my family would find out. "Miss Chin," the editor prompted, "this is a significant honor." I thought about Dad's face every time he introduced me, the embarrassment in his voice. "I'll do it," I said. The magazine was set to hit newsstands on Friday, November 24th, the day after Thanksgiving. The night before Thanksgiving, the editor called with final details. "Just so you know, the photography came out beautifully. You're going to be on the cover." My hands froze. "The cover?" "Absolutely. The secret CEO, How Emily Chen built a $127 million empire while everyone thought she was failing. I didn't sleep well that night. I'd left Thanksgiving dinner early and checked into a hotel. The next morning at 7:15, my mom called. "Emily, where are you?" "I made breakfast." "Your father's already up. We can smooth things over." I arrived at 7:28. Dad was at the breakfast bar reading on his iPad. Marcus was scrolling on his phone. My phone rang. New York number. "Miss Chin, this is Jennifer from Fortune. The response to the early digital edition has been phenomenal. You're trending on LinkedIn and Twitter." I watched Dad's head snap up. "Thank you," I said. "Can I call you back?" "I'm with family." I hung up. The kitchen went completely silent. "Fortune magazine?" Dad said slowly. My phone rang again. Another New York number. "Miss Chin, this is David from Bloomberg. We just saw the Fortune cover. We'd love to do a segment on your company." Dad's face went pale. I handled the call calmly, then turned back to them. "What is happening?" Dad whispered. I pulled out my phone, opened the PDF, and turned it toward them. Dad stood up so fast his bar stool nearly tipped over. He grabbed my phone. His eyes went wide. $127 million, he said. "Current valuation," I confirmed. "We should hit $180 million by year-end." Marcus snatched the phone. 340 employees? $89 million in revenue. He looked up at me. "This has to be fake." "It's not fake." Dad found the cover on his iPad. He read in silence for a full minute. His hand reached for his coffee cup without looking and knocked it over. The ceramic shattered. Coffee sprayed across the white cabinets. No one moved to clean it up. "You drive a Honda," Mom whispered. "I like my Honda." "You live in a tiny apartment." "It's adequate for my needs." Dad finally looked up. "You intentionally let us think you were failing?" "I let you think whatever you wanted to think. I never lied. You all just made assumptions." "Last night," Dad said, his voice cracking, "I told you to stop playing entrepreneur." "I remember." "I said you were embarrassing the family." "I remember that too." He set down his iPad very carefully. "I owe you an apology." "You owe me several." He flinched. "I was wrong." "I'm sorry." I looked at him, this man who'd introduced me as our daughter who works in tech, with embarrassment in his voice. Who'd offered me a $45,000 entry-level job like he was doing me a favor. "I appreciate the apology," I said. "But I think we both need some time to figure out what our relationship looks like now that you can't pretend I'm the failure of the family." His face crumpled. I walked to the door and turned back. For what it's worth, I never wanted to embarrass you. I just wanted to build something that mattered. Whether you're proud of it or not doesn't change what I've accomplished. I left them standing in the kitchen with broken coffee cup pieces scattered across the floor. By Monday, I'd done interviews with CNN, Bloomberg, and CNBC. Acquisition offers flooded in, the highest hit $680 million. I turned them all down. Marcus called on Tuesday. We met at a coffee shop. "You were right," he said. "When you showed up in your old car and your Target clothes, it made me feel like I'd made the right choices and you'd made the wrong ones. But you actually built something. 340 people depend on you." "I'm sorry." I accepted his apology. And when he asked what I actually make, I told him the truth. My equity stake was worth about $68 million. He set down his cup carefully. "Jesus." Dad called on Friday and took me to dinner. He'd read the Fortune article 3 times. "Do you know what your employees said about you?" he asked. "They said you remember their kids' names. That you shut down the office for a week last Christmas so everyone could be with family. That you cry when you have to let someone go." His voice cracked. "I'm so proud of you, Emily. Not because of the money. Because you became exactly who you wanted to be without compromising who you are." I reached across the table and took his hand. "There's nothing to forgive. You did what you thought was right." "I want to understand now," he said. "Then ask questions. Visit my office. Let me show you what I built." He squeezed my hand. "I'd like that." SecureCore hit $180 million valuation on schedule. We landed the Department of Defense contract. Forbes named me to their 30 under 40 list. We opened a 4th office in Singapore. My whole family came to the opening. At the celebration dinner, Dad gave a toast. 7 years ago, my daughter started a company in a tiny apartment with nothing but an idea and a maxed-out credit card. I told her she was wasting her time. I told her she was embarrassing the family. The room went quiet. I was wrong about everything. Emily didn't need a real job. She created 340 of them. She didn't embarrass this family. She taught us what real courage looks like. He raised his glass. To Emily. I'm sorry I didn't believe in you sooner. But I believe in you now. Later, Mom pulled me aside. I'm sorry you had to be strong without us. We should have been your first believers, not your last. You're here now, I said. That's what matters. People ask me now why I hid my success. The real answer is complicated. I wanted to prove I could build something meaningful without anyone's approval. The Fortune cover didn't make me successful. I was already successful. It just made my success visible. And that's the thing about playing entrepreneur. You're not really playing. You're building. You're risking everything on an idea that might fail. The people who dismiss you, who tell you to get a real job, they're operating from fear. So you smile. You keep working. You build your empire in the shadows. And one day, everyone who thought you were failing finally sees what you built while they weren't looking. That's not playing. That's winning. If you made it to the end, thank you. Hit that subscribe button for more stories about quiet persistence and unexpected victories. I'll see you in the next one.